Chris.
Heath.
I'm not speaking in metaphor when I say that you are my fantasy What the hell is that game called?
Metaphor Refantazio. Yeah, it's quite the mouthful.
Yeah.
But we're both going to be talking about hot new video game releases this episode.
Cutting edge 2024 blockbusters.
We're such bleeding edge tastemakers, the two of us.
I can taste it in my gums.
It's just the guys this episode.
Twice as much testosterone as your average episode this season.
Thank goodness. And we're back at an old recording location.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to dox us. What's our IP address, Chris?
I won't give away your zip code, Heath, but we're back where it all began, in your parents' house.
It did begin here, yes.
Speaking of beginnings and endings, some bookkeeping right now.
Some housekeeping. I'm dusting the curtains, as he says.
I'll apologize to our audience that episode 110, which they have not even heard yet because it's not released.
Because it's Patreon blocked, premium exclusive.
It's not behind a paywall.
Backer tier. We've only distributed to J-Dog.
It only lives on my computer's hard drive because of hackers, actually.
Not hackers of you, but hackers of the archive.
Of the website, the Internet Archive, where we host all of our episodes.
Because they were after those Chapel Roan nudes.
It seems like that organization should be very low on the totem pole of potential hacktivist targets because it's like hacking Wikipedia. It's just a nonprofit organization people can host files on. I don't know what they did to deserve the ire of this hacker group, but it's been interfering with the distribution of Mobius tubes for the past week at least. I don't know when it'll be back up. We're recording this, by the way, on October 19th, 2024.
And the show is called Mobius Tubes. Chris and I like to talk about video games, and we've each brought a singular game to talk about.
I may have brought more than one.
Just one game.
But Heath and I like talking about games so much that this is episode 111 of this show.
Ooh, your favorite element on the periodic table.
Before we get into hot and heavy video game talk, I want to bring up a short end of an era conclusion statement here.
Oh, because the PlayStation's no longer making CD discs?
No, don't worry about that.
I nailed that milestone.
I was recently convinced to hop back into Inscryption a little bit.
Woo!
It's not going to be big enough for like a game talk. I played like one round of Casey's mod. This was due to the immense peer pressure I was receiving from Samantha's taunts. She's apparently beaten Casey's mod on the hardest possible difficulty level.
No way.
I know.
Specifically the one all the way to the left?
All difficulty modifiers enabled.
All of them?
That's what she told me.
But that includes the one that you get fewer squirrels.
I think the most difficult one is you encounter the wall of bears every boss fight.
Wall of bears?
So I've booted up Inscryption in the first time in like 3 years. Which led me to this discovery, Heath. Take a quick look at this.
No, I don't need to watch the rest of that.
Heath's watching the receipts of you can, in fact, clear your save data in Inscryption.
Why do they settings gatekeep it like that?
It's a setting in the options menu.
You might as well have gone into the BIOS.
I don't know, dude. It's right next to where you adjust the master volume.
I can't believe Pony Island would do this to me.
Daniel Mullen, I think.
Mystery solved. Now I can get a refund for that year-old copy
Switch
of
copy.
Switch Inscription. And I might as well refund my native copy on Steam because I can just use you as my sugar daddy.
Right, we're part of that Steam family now.
Thanks.
That housekeeping has been addressed. We can move on to the games.
Yeah.
I would like to go first.
Go.
So we have both been playing hot new releases. For me, it's got to be Metaphor Refantazio.
Ooh.
This is a debut title from Studio Zero.
How come I didn't recognize that studio name?
They've never released a game before.
But they invented Persona. They invented Persona.
So here's where their history is. You're not wrong, Heath. It's an internal Atlas team. Atlas has 3 development studios. One is P Studio. They make the Persona games. One is the Shin Megami Tensei guys. And then there's this new team. They keep spawning new internal teams. But when you say this is from the Persona team, you're not really wrong saying so because this game shares a lot of the same personnel. It has veterans from the Persona 3, 4, and 5. It has the same director, the same character designer, and the same composer.
The same music.
Same composer, so yeah, similar talent.
Because your go-to music's playlist has maybe like 18% Persona songs.
At least.
And then the rest is League.
I do like Riot Games' music, or their music videos are quite good, despite the fact that I've never went into the jungle with a League character.
I hear it's treacherous.
But in a nutshell, I'm playing... It's a new franchise, but it's essentially fantasy Persona.
You know how Joker's main catchphrase is, I'll deny you. Sorry, I immediately named 13 Sentinels' character's catchphrase.
Joker's been known to say, show me your true form.
Yeah, what is the show me your true form of metaphor Refantazio?
Of Will.
Yeah, what's Will's catchphrase?
The protagonist's default name is Will.
I'm gonna close my eyes and picture it.
You know, it's ironic that nothing's coming to mind for me because unlike Joker, the protagonist in Metaphor
can't shut up.
Does speak more.
Oh, good.
He's still the least chatty party member on the team, but he vocalizes more of his thoughts. He's not quite the silent protagonist Joker is.
Sort of like a Ichiban Kiryu situation.
I mean, they're both pretty chatty, I think.
Kiryu's chatty?
Yeah.
No,
Kiryu's fully voiced.
Kiryu's just jutting out that bottom jaw and looking all awesome.
Just mewing the whole time.
Mewing is what the kids say.
Yeah, I'm having a great time with it. I did want to address, I wanted to get in front of some hypocrisy, where earlier in the year, I did have a brief rant about Persona 5 Royal and Atlus's propensity to re-release their games in like a new, improved versions. And I was like, players should be skeptical of hopping on the new Atlus game right away when record shows it pays dividends to wait. And here I am just a few months later, totally eating my words. I will say, yes, there's definitely hypocrisy going on.
Get in and get in fast. Pull a Heath and buy 2 copies.
The only thing I'll say in my defense is I was slightly encouraged to see they took a new approach with another one of the releases this year, Persona 3 Reload, where they actually released story DLC for that game. Not a new edition you have to buy completely a la carte separately. Players who own Persona 3 Reload can just pay the nominal fee to get the Answer DLC. So I think they've adopted a new strategy where I won't be forced to buy Metaphor Divine Edition.
Have I heard about anything that happens in the Answer DLC?
I haven't, but I've been purposefully media blackout, so I wouldn't.
Because it's Persona 5 DLC?
It's Persona 3 Reload DLC.
Oh, okay. I don't care.
Okay. So that, I gave myself permission to go out on a limb and trust Atlus. I think they might be turning over a new leaf, getting rid of the predatory re-release strategy. We'll see if I eat these words 2.5 years down the line.
So Metaphor Refantazio.
Yes.
How did you spend the first semester?
I'm not super far in. I'm
specced into studying.
I've played about 15 hours. I have completed the first dungeon.
Oh.
That means that since this is an Atlus game, I've barely scratched the surface. You play as... Will. I named my character Elric, but I guess he's canonically Will. You're in a totally fantasy setting. This is a departure because usually Persona games take place in the real world in a high school setting. And you're in a fantasy kingdom with prejudiced tribes and warring kingdoms. And, it's fantasy fare. It does have its own identity to it, where it's not leaning on tropes of like orcs and dwarves. No, they've got some, somewhat original fantasy races that inhabit this world. I'm really enjoying getting to know the world building.
Are the fantasy races like the fantasy enemies in Persona 5 where you do an ambush and then the armed guard turns into this smutty lady and I immediately have to look around and make sure nobody else can see my screen?
No, they've done away with those shadows
that
they call them in Persona, which I think are staples of Shin Megami Tensei. They've had a clear cut here where you don't see those designs anymore. There is no Jack Frost.
I liked Jack Frost.
Yeah, there's some... Jack Frost is like Atlus's mascot.
Jack Frost slaps.
But you won't see those. These are fresh designs.
Okay.
But I've been enjoying seeing how... I'm enjoying the race relations. So this game wears it very boldly on its sleeve. It's all about racism. Almost to a, maybe to a...
Do they got them Dr. Seuss, the ones with the stars on their bellies? Is it that cut and dry?
Nothing that...
The Sneeds, I think they're called.
Nothing that directly related to our world.
You see, Will,
but
we fight these creatures because they have 3 horns.
At least in the early hours, the depictions of prejudice going on between the 8 tribes of this world have been maybe a bit heavy-handed and all on the nose, just like how much they're beating you over the head with it. But on the other hand, you play as an Elda, which is like the lowest of the low. You're like an untouchable, basically.
Ugh.
You're the so-called 9th tribe. They don't even really count you among the 8 normal tribes.
And my love interest is the wealthiest princess that caught my eye during a ceremonial parade.
And the population of the Elda is so small that like most people in the kingdom's capital haven't even seen one before.
Whoa.
So that when they see you, they're really taken aback, and they lay the racism on thick, which I guess might be a realistic depiction if they've never actually seen your kind before. I'm looking forward to seeing what it does with these really overt themes of racism. Like so far, in the opening hours, it's just been, man, isn't it kind of shitty? Everyone's racist. I wonder if they're going to go like a layer or 2 deeper than that. So we'll see how that develops.
So that's the metaphor.
That's probably the titular metaphor. Although the game will also have, I'm counting on the game having a lot to say about what gives certain people the right to govern. The game centers all around an important election. The game's very opening cutscene. Before you even hit the main menu, you see the king gets assassinated. And now there's going to be a royal election where anyone, regardless of birth or circumstance, could be crowned the new king.
Oh, I gotcha.
I don't know if it actually goes in that direction, but we'll find out.
Yeah, Dumbledore said quietly.
So everything about the story, like I said, early goings, it all seems very promising. Remains to be seen if it delivers. I've met the intro party members. Stroll, he's like the last of his noble house, and he's very hung up on upholding what it means to be a noble and like protecting the people. He's a nice guy. He's filling the best friend role of the Persona games. He's like a Ryuji. I've also met Hulkenberg, who's like a anointed knight, and she's of the Rusant tribe, who's kind of like an elf, but her ears are hairy at the tips.
Ooh.
And they're also, in that particular tribe, the women are the more martially proficient of their species, which is interesting. So she was kind of, while her family was more of a diplomatic type, she's the black sheep since she became a knight. We'll see where all that goes. Like I said, these characters haven't been very fleshed out so far. I'm only 1 dungeon deep. I will say I wasn't immediately smitten with the game. The first 6 hours are classic Atlas RPG fare, where you're completely railroaded. They're just hitting you with tutorial after tutorial. I don't envy the designers. They have a lot of systems to introduce you to. But this happened to me when I replayed Persona 5 Royal earlier this year. That opening tutorial section that lasts between 6 or 7 hours does grate on me more than I remember it doing back in the day. So it was a big relief to get through that. And then have the reins opened up to you where you can choose how you're spending each calendar day and spend time with your followers, go try to nurture your royal virtues, basically the same thing as your social stats. It's crazy how many analogous systems there are in this game to Persona. Even Igor is in this game, except it's not Igor. His name is Moore now. And instead of being in the Velvet Room, he lives in academia. There's so many direct analogs. It's crazy it's not just called Persona fantasy flair.
When you vanquish the beast and impress the palace guards, do music notes pop out of their suit of armor?
There are literally some same musical notes. Like when you rank up a royal virtue, it's the same like flashing sound.
And there's smooth jazz playing in the background.
I will say, while the soundtrack is impressive, nothing has done it for me the same way Persona themes do. That just could be a me thing. Subjectively, I'm not vibing as much with the fantasy chanting of this orchestral theme.
You've never been a big chanting guy.
I mean, I love the opening monks of Halo.
Okay, that's different.
I'll inevitably be playing this game and bringing it back to the show for the next several episodes. It's going to be long.
Yeah.
But while I can give my tentative stamp of approval on the story stuff going on, it seems like it's going in directions I'm going to enjoy. What I can absolutely say, this game, dare I say, improves over Persona to a noticeable degree. Man, I am much more enjoying the combat mechanics of this game and the RPG development mechanics.
Oh, Will is not high-fiving Hulk every 30 seconds, passing that baton.
Baton pass is not as potent. I believe this one uses the press turn system, which is a Shin Megami Tensei thing.
I vaguely recognize that phrase.
The most stark difference is all-out attacks are no longer a thing in this game, where the Persona franchise heavily incentivizes you, exploit every weakness you can, knock every shadow down, and then your team gets a free, very efficient, very powerful all-out attack as a reward. It's nigh, in every situation, the correct answer to the combat encounter. You want to make as many all-out attacks as possible. And that's no longer a consideration in Metaphor, which means while exploiting weaknesses is still incentivized, it grants you like half of an extra turn on your side. Turns are more of a resource your entire party uses. It's slightly different. I think it adds some subtlety where knocking down everyone on the opposing side is no longer definitively always the right answer. Maybe you want to spend some of your valuable turns using Hulkenberg, your tank character, to taunt all the enemies so that she'll draw all their fire. There's more of a rhythm to it where you'll have a turn that's setting yourself up and then a turn where you kind of cash in on all your setup. It's a bit of a different rhythmic flow to the combat. I enjoy that. The thing that's by and large the greatest contributor to me enjoying this game's mechanics more is how they change up the Persona system itself. They call it archetypes now.
Didn't they call it archetypes before? Why does archetypes ring a bell?
I don't know.
Were the personas themselves called archetypes?
I don't believe so.
I think there was like an archangel that was called archetype.
There definitely is an archangel in Persona.
All right, that's maybe it.
But no, in Metaphor, the replacements to Personas, in Persona, it was cribbing from Pokemon, right? You were capturing these shadows, fusing them up to train better ones. The Personas in Persona, there's a very disposable nature to them, where when you get to the next palace, you know, like even the lowest level grunt in the next palace you encounter is probably going to be on par or better than the Personas you have equipped from the previous palace.
Yeah, Arsene is a piece of shit.
Right. Joker's titular persona is immediately out of date.
More like, I fart thou fart I.
There's a constant treadmill in Persona where you need to keep on cycling new shadows in and out of your arsenal. They're all going to be very ephemeral, very discardable. And that's not the case in Metaphor, where archetypes, much greater sense of ownership over them. Currently, I'm speccing my main character to be a mage build, maxing out his magic stats and stuff like that.
Ooh.
And I know the mage build is never going to become obsolete. It's going to be useful for the duration of the game. You will have to switch it out. Every character is much more malleable. In Persona games, Joker was kind of like, oh, you're the fool, the wild card. You're so special because you can harness multiple personas. Where all of your party members in Persona games had very static roles. Ryuji was always going to be the electric and physical damage dealer. Where in Metaphor, it's far more fluid. You can spec any of your party members to fill any role. Now, they will be a little more tailored to do certain roles better, just based on their base stats. Hulkenberg, she's very durable. She has high energy stat. She can take a lot of punishment. So she's most naturally going to be a knight who's your tank class. But I actually used her more as a healer, just because I needed one on the team. No one else I thought was going to be suited to it, so I made her my healer. You can make any character any archetype. They're all accessible to you. You can have archetypes inherit other stats from other classes you've trained in. So there's some cross-pollination that can go on. My mage only has access to fire, ice, and electric. But since my protagonist spent a little bit of time as a healer, I had my mage also inherit light magic attacks, or holy or bless, I forget the actual name. So this is what lots of JRPGs call a job system, And I've actually just never happened to play a JRPG that has one of these
That's
before.
called a job system?
Yeah, it's apparently a staple of the genre. I've just personally managed to avoid them forever.
I thought the job system was when Cloud would work as like a guitar player at the tavern to earn extra money. He had to do a job.
He does that? Or is this a fabricated example?
I thought that like in Fable you would work a job like the blacksmithing mini game to earn enough money to get the big sword. The job system is just spec.
It's just what class are you having your characters develop in, basically.
Oh, I've been learning this now.
Me too, honestly. Unless you count Fire Emblem Three Houses, I don't think I've played a game quite like that before.
I don't count Fire Emblem as a game.
Damn, Samantha just unsubscribed. No, I'm quite enjoying it. The exemplary Metacritic scores are what got me on board. I'm sure this is going to be a GOTY contender. Expected to see it nominated by Jeff Keighley. We'll find out in December.
Okay.
Dare I say it might be a frontrunner.
Whoa.
It's got to fight off.
But this is the year that Balatro came out.
It did.
I can't think of another 2024 game.
I feel like most people would have pointed to FF7 Rebirth.
Oh, yeah, they did. All right. Yeah.
The JRPGs are going to slug it out this year.
Yeah.
And we'll all be the beneficiaries of it. At least I will be. All right, that's everything I had to say in this initial update on Metaphor. I'm having a great time with it. But I am not the only one who's playing new games. Heath.
Speaking of games that are highly focused on elections and that seem okay but aren't really blowing your mind like their predecessor did, I booted up Frostpunk 2.
Long awaited. Your most anticipated game of the year.
My most anticipated game of the year. In Frostpunk 2, bigger is not always better.
This doesn't sound like it's going to be glowing impressions.
The game, the story mode, is arranged in 4 or 5 chapters. It doesn't matter how many chapters there are. As opposed to Frostpunk 1, which was only 2 chapters, as we all know. The main introductory game loop, where you're trying to keep everybody warm and fed and supplied. And then chapter 2, when you became either a fascist dictator or a theocratic zealot.
Right.
In this game, you can be either of those things, or you can curry favor with the industrialists or with the nomadic types that would rather adapt to the cold environment as opposed to resist it.
So even more possible solutions?
On paper, Frostpunk 2 is more exciting. You are going to favor one faction or the other, and there's many more factions, and their membership ebbs and flows, and you're proposing laws that are then voted on. I've never had a vote fail, so maybe if I was playing on a harder difficulty, I would have to manip the system a little more, but it's really just like negotiate with the majority. Like, hey, I'm gonna put a candy cane in this district. Mm-hmm. The thing that I liked most about my playing Frostpunk 2 for however long was, for a second, it became a Strand-like game where you're connecting cities across not America.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you literally had to send scouts. The mechanic was so poorly made, but it's like you're pin dropping your skyway between your main settlement and that other settlement. And I should mention that playing Frostpunk 2 really just makes you appreciate how elegant Frostpunk 1 was. In Frostpunk 1, you started the game with like 80 inhabitants. I'm not counting children as inhabitants. More on that later. What? Nor do I ever. You're not a human being unless you can carry some crates.
So we can put you to work.
Yeah. So you have 80, right? If you don't house them properly and they all die of sickness or they freeze to death, sorry, not all, as few as like 6. If I have 6 people die in the first week in Frostpunk 1, I'm tempting to restart. That's number 1, a productivity hit, and it's going to be that much more difficult to get enough resources to survive the whiteout. And number 2, it's like a thematic issue.
Right.
I'm like, hope's going down, discontent is up. I might as well just restart. Also, restarting in Frostpunk 2, there's too many cinematics. In Civilization, what happens? You click start. Sean Bean reads a narrative about, oh, Montezuma, you killed it, bro, in Aztec land. Will you stand the test of time? And halfway through his monologue, the map fades in, and you can just skip Sean Bean and just get right to turn 1. In Frostpunk 2, God forbid your name is Stuart, because everyone in the game, all the city inhabitants, refer to you by your title as Steward. So it'll be like, we need more medicine, Steward. God forbid your roommate's name is Steward. Anyway, I have to hold the space bar to skip the opening animatic that like ties in with the first game, which, I love that it tied in with the first game. How would it not have tied in with the first game? And then I have to hold the space bar again to skip the second cinematic to then get to the dialogue box that says, you are in charge. You can rule the city. And then I click okay, and now I can start plopping down houses.
All right, I have a question.
I gotta go into those settings and disable those cinematics, bro. Because I'm roguelike resetting as frequently as you'd expected me to reset. And I haven't beaten a single campaign yet. So don't ask me what happens in Chapter 4. It might turn hot.
Surely restarting a campaign is an event that happens like once every several hours, right?
No, I mean,
why are you harping so much on needing to skip these 2 cinematics?
Because the systems in Frostpunk 2 are like a little more complex, and it's not the basic wood, raw food, cooked food, metal that you had in Frostpunk 1. Now it's prefabs and heat stamps, which are like the taxes. The larger your population, the more heat stamps you accrue, and you spend heat stamps on frost breaking so that you can put buildings where you've broken the frost. And then I'll be not paying attention, and get ready for me to say the L word. I'll be not paying attention, and I'll get a pop-up that says 128 children died.
Oh.
Because I was so lackadaisical with my quarantine law that I signed weeks ago. The time scale is larger. The populations are larger. I feel more disjointed to the crisis that was Frostpunk 1.
I see.
I gotta get, these guys are eating the raw food because I can't cook it fast enough. I need more cookhouses. And then in 2, I'll have like thousands of people die just as a little UI text. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
You're a few levels higher in the abstraction.
I imagine this is how Obama felt and why his hair went all gray, is because on the macro scale, yes, you will have more deaths and have more to manage. It suffers from numberflation.
Some of the personal, intimate stakes are gone.
Yeah, like you can't turn on temperature vision anymore. Remember how in Frostpunk 1 where like the temperature would drop and you would see all of these houses in a malaise, that's not the right word, in a hue of purple, which shows like they are freezing to death. I gotta fix that. This is my fault. They need to be orange. And then in Frostpunk 2, yeah, I'll toggle through like the economy visions, and maybe it's in the late game. I haven't had that big moral crisis, and I've always been able to pass laws so far with not much pushback. And then it would crash on me.
Oh, the game's crashing.
Yeah, it's crashing. So I booted it up again. You know, my PC is 6 years old. Who knows? You know, this was always an inevitability. So I played it today. In fact, this morning. You may have seen a Steam notification saying as much.
Heath is online.
And I might have been restarting too many times because the screen went dark and the GPU fans sped up to maximum speed.
Okay.
20 seconds later, the power goes out. I boot it back up. I see the little desktop and loading like boot animation, which I guess is like a CPU rendered graphic. Because as soon as that was done, a glitchy white bar was all that appeared on my monitor.
No.
And I waited for anything to change, and nothing changed. And then I powered it down again, and I booted it back up again. The white bar didn't reappear the second time, and all it said was an error message that was native to my monitor that said that the video signal was irregular. Horizontal was like 64 hertz and vertical was 60 hertz. So Frostpunk 2 bricked my GPU.
No way, dude.
So I took that to Best Buy, and that's where my PC is now. And I was kind of thankful. I was like, well, now I don't have to play more Frostpunk 2, and God is forcing me to focus on studying for my genetics exam. So I had like a perfect excuse to not play anymore. When I get my PC back, or when I replace it, we will see whether or not Frostpunk 2, just the writing's on the wall. It's not as good as the first game.
Okay.
Even you, who's never touched it, can tell.
I touched Frostpunk.
You never touched it, bro.
I mean, it had a glancing blow.
Yeah, like the adjacencies were more fun in the first game.
Is it still using a radial system?
Yeah, it is. It is radial, but it's more irregular. It's not a perfect polar graph.
I see. Well, I feel like the takeaway from this conversation, as damning as it is you drew some sort of a silver lining from the fact that your GPU was bricked because you didn't have to keep playing this game. My God. I guess I do have a closing curiosity question for me. Fair to say this game, you kind of hit the ground running faster. It's a higher complexity game?
Yes. The short answer is yeah, because you got more than one city this time. And you jockey resources back and forth. And you're literally Sam Porter Bridgesing teams across the wilderness, and you're like, this unmarked territory says it is of moderate danger, and my crews may get hurt, but if I Lewis and Clark it real quick, I'll be able to much more affordably connect this fuel depot to my capital. Great opportunity cost there. But I've never built a hospital. Like all the cool tech tree gated buildings, I have not been able to entertain because I've always been short on heat stamps. You hover over the heat stamps thing, and it says that, yeah, you ought to have many because your population is so large, but because the goods demand is not being met. Back at Frostpunk 1, where I was like, we just need to survive. I will drink this bowl of soup with sawdust in it if it means I can push through another day. Now that we are we're absolutely not post-scarcity, but we've kind of like, we're sort of establishing the government, clearly. There's a smidge of an economy. You can use some of those resources that would otherwise go to like building houses and hospitals and things into goods. And the more of an economy there is, the more heat stamps you have. And like heat stamps is just, I don't know. I dislike it as a resource because how do I get more heat stamps? Just by like Keynesian economics being like, oh, you know, what the hell was your question?
About the game's complexity.
Yeah, it's more complex, yeah.
You would not advise anyone to make Frostpunk 2 their first Frostpunk game.
No shot, buddy.
Okay.
I would much rather touch the head of my dick to an icicle before I do that.
My God.
Mainly because Frostpunk 1 was not as complex, but you still had fun choices to make, like, do you build the fighting arena because it's going to help people blow off steam, but people are going to get hurt and it's going to overload the healthcare system. There's twice as much fun choices like that in Frostpunk 2. I can see it in the periphery of the tech tree, but I haven't figured out the Goldilocks ratio of population to goods production to resource extraction. And as soon as I can basically do the video game equivalent of doing my taxes, then I can just let my creativity fly.
Yeah. The little bit I heard about Frostpunk 2 prior to this conversation was that it really wasn't a safe sequel. It's not just more of the same. It does sound like they really changed up the Frostpunk formula in ways that fans of the original don't completely appreciate.
Yeah.
Would you say you empathize with that perspective?
Yes. And I see what they were trying to do.
In a quick summary, what do you think they were trying to do?
No, they were trying to specialize. So like this city is where the infrastructure is going to be and run the economy. And then you're going to dispatch people to like suck the resources dry out of that place and send the oil back to us because we're going to modify our generator to only run on oil. Send the coal to that spot, and maybe build a coal liquefaction plant so we can still turn some of that coal into oil. Diversification, allowing for the more creative leadership styles, and basically just give it a little bit of that Sid Meier's money. But it came at the cost of divorcing me from the thematic. Gosh, I felt like such a smarty when in the last Autumn DLC, they're literally building the generator as the frost is beginning to come in and do permanent winter. I put so many safeguards in the literal pit where like there was a cave-in or something like that, and it's like, oh, we can sacrifice these scientists to finish this project in 9 hours before the snow hits, or we can do, like it's just like a dire situation. And I think I nailed it because I prepped where I needed to and then cut corners when I had to. The narrative through line between me and the game is so much stronger, and I literally couldn't care about the 20 or so thousand people complaining that there's too much crime in New London in the sequel when I'm just trying to figure out how heat stamps work.
There's certainly a lot more to juggle and keep track of.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I don't play Europa Universalis.
Ah, those Paradox games.
It's back to Paradox. If you like Europa Universalis, feel free to play either Frostpunk game. You will have no trouble.
Got it. Well, I'm sorry to hear it wasn't all sunshine and roses for you.
Watch 11-Bit Studios send me a brand integrated product placement new desktop computer, complete with a white tower. No, it's dripping in oil. Then I have to play Frostpunk 2 again.
Right. You'll be obligated.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Not exactly. What a twist with the update about your GPU bricking.
So far, it's a 2 out of 5. It could rise to a 3 out of 5. The game
destroying your physical hardware, and it's still got 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I like the presentation's real good. If you are absolutely losing hard and making bad leadership choices, it pulls a Metal Gear Solid V where your literal POV starts dripping in oil.
Really?
It's the renegade satanic leader. Your vision, it gets black.
Oily.
Yeah, oily.
Weird choice. Okay.
Fun choice. They should do that in Sid Meier's Civilization.
And it's still inexplicably oil.
It's still
All right, I'll grapple the reins back. I played a couple more games. Let's run through them. All right, everyone, take a shot. I played another Yakuza game.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm continuing the endless march of trying to catch up. Are you okay?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, Kiryu's back.
But only partially. So I played Yakuza 4.
Oh.
Picking up where I left off earlier this year, I finished 3. This was the first game in the chronology of this franchise that introduced multiple protagonists. Kiryu takes a big backseat in this game.
To Majima.
Majima's not playable. No, there's a bunch of new blood in this game. And it doesn't have 1 or 2 protagonists. Yakuza 4 has 4 playable protagonists.
Oh my God.
And I quite like this game. I'm going to say of the 5 Yakuza games I finished, I place it smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
It is my 3rd favorite of the ones I've played. And I think that's mainly due to the strength of its story. It's a bit more complex. We've got these like 4 plates spinning, and they all gradually, you see the puzzle pieces interconnect until the big finale where all 4 disparate storylines interweave.
Are we still in Kamurocho?
Oh, you bet your sweet ass we're still in Kamurocho.
Aye.
Where else would we be? I know.
I can't even name it, but that other spot.
Sometimes we go to Sotenbori.
Yeah.
And then in Yakuza 3, we were in Okinawa briefly. But no, this one was exclusively in Kamurocho. I have to say, I think the 4 protagonists they bring out for this game and introduce us to, they're pretty strong and interesting. You start with, it was apparently a fan favorite, Akiyama. He's the infamous loan shark of Sky Finance, who, rumor has it, he's willing to lend huge sums of money for zero interest to just about anyone, provided the borrower can pass his unique tests. So you start out playing as him. He's got his own unique fighting style. As mysterious as the plot is, as it introduces like a mysterious lady, something fishy about this legendary assassination hit that went down 25 years ago, just the mystery surrounding who Akiyama is himself. And like, why is he a loan shark? Why doesn't he collect interest on his loans? Who is this man? What's his stake in all this? He's interesting. You move on after him to Saejima, who's a legendary Yakuza hitman who carried out that legendary assassination 25 years ago single-handedly, where he apparently gunned down 18 rival clans members. And he's been sitting in prison on death row ever since. You take on his shoes, and his storyline is all about uncovering what actually happened 25 years ago and figuring out the truth of the matter as he tries to escape from prison. Then we've got the last newcomer, maybe my least favorite, Tanimura, who is a crooked, irreverent cop. He's a young hot blood on the force, but the truth of the matter is he's searching for what actually happened during his father's murder all those years ago. And then last but not least, they save Kiryu for the very end. You play the first entire 75% of this game, barely seeing the Dragon of Dojima himself. What restraint the developers showed. Because they withheld the face of the franchise up until this point, until the very end. I thought that was a pretty bold choice, making him take such a back seat. This and Yakuza 0 are the only two I played that do the juggling protagonist thing. I think both of their plots are stronger for it, just because it keeps things kind of brisk and fresh as you hop between different perspectives. It also keeps the mundane, repetitive combat of these Yakuza games a little bit more pacey because you have to adapt to their different fighting styles. And keep that in the back of your head. Because let's be real, in the games where you only play as Kiryu, you are spamming that very same button combo, rinse and repeat for the entire duration, and it gets super stale. But the fact that there's some slight subtleties to how these different guys fight alleviates some of the doldrums there. One more note on this game's combat and difficulty and mechanics. This was the first Yakuza game I've ever played on normal difficulty, actually. All the other ones, I just breeze through on easy. I'm not here to punch and kick. I want all of the crime drama and the wacky sub-stories. I couldn't give a damn about getting good at Kiryu's kicking and punching combos. But I did give it a shot at this one. I was like, maybe I should see if there's anything I can mine out of note from Yakuza combat. The answer is really no. In fact, it did frustrate me. I'm open to this being a skill issue, Heath. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing.
Well, we're not Dark Souls boys.
Speak for yourself. I played a lot of Sekiro.
I've never touched a Dark Soul.
I beat Bloodborne.
Oh, all right.
If an uninformed onlooker walked into me in a Yakuza boss fight on normal difficulty, I would totally forgive them and maybe agree with them in saying that they think I'm getting my ass kicked. I can't see how it can be the case that Yakuza boss fights aren't just painful wars of attrition, where you and the boss slap each other around, both doing chip damage for eons. It takes forever. There's so much blocking. I would think if you master these mechanics, and I tried to get better at dodging and like waiting for the opportunities to go around their back and then do my combo. But no, they constantly interrupt your combos. I fail to see how skillful play will result in you having a somewhat breezy path to victory. I think baked into Yakuza combat is the inherent assumption you're going to be chugging health potions the entire time. As we both just trade damage back and forth for long periods, and the only thing keeping me in the fight is that I had a full inventory of staminas and toughness ZZs to keep Kiryu erect and vigorous.
So, and this stems from their JRPG roots? This is standard fare for across the pond.
I don't know what to make of it.
Because they invented health potions, and we invented stop and pop.
Could be. I won't definitively agree, but that sounds plausible. But no, the fights are just, they drag on normal difficulty. I'm going to be playing the rest of this franchise until at least the turn-based games, then I might mix things up. I'll be playing it on easy from here on out when I pick up Yakuza 5.
Oh my god! If you played the turn-based ones on easy, I would make fun of you so hard.
Would you?
Yeah, because
For what
we're
reason?
smart enough to beat these things. Turn-based.
Yeah. Which brings us to the finale.
You beat the game.
I beat the game,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it end on a cliffhanger?
It's a Yakuza game. They all end on cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Well, a previous Yakuza game ends with Kiryu being stabbed in the gut and then it fades to black. Nice. And you're like, I guess he's dead?
That's it for Kiryu. Yeah, he's gone.
They would never.
Now that he has cancer.
I haven't gotten there yet. I knew about that. Don't worry.
Oh my god.
Apparently it's in some promotional material.
Oh my god, I almost spoiled everything.
So you reach the end of Yakuza 4. The stakes are so high.
Oh, that's why there's 4.
They are the Yakuza 4. You have all 4 of your protagonists, in the same location, all squaring off against their thematically appropriate rival simultaneously. The stakes are 4 times as high. I'm so hyped. Mechanically playing through the finale, it was absolute hell.
Why?
Because you have 4 consecutive boss fights back to back with no checkpoints.
No checkpoints.
And I just mentioned how on normal difficulty, it's a total grind.
Yeah.
And it was agony,
yeah,
dude.
I'm getting VTOL mission PTSD.
I don't know what they were thinking, having 4 full-length fights, consecutive, no breaks. It was awful. It was egregious.
Yeah.
So, least fun finale to a Yakuza game mechanically. I will say, at this point, I've now played enough Yakuza games where I'm starting to notice the endings of these games follow a suspiciously formulaic template.
I want to hear it.
A shocking amount of these games, they almost always take place on a skyscraper rooftop at night.
With a shirtless businessman.
Everyone's shirtless. Minimum 2 characters get betrayed by their closest ally.
Yeah.
Inevitably, one character who's, down and out will lunge for a firearm on the ground and take a shot slash kill a key character right at the end. Someone will inevitably reveal that they were working undercover this entire time and they had a different loyalty. One antagonist, there will always be an antagonist who, after getting fisted,
yes,
thoroughly
beaten
up in a fist fight,
has a change of heart,
will realize the error of their ways and empathize with the protagonist.
Wipes blood from his corner of his lips.
The only trope Yakuza 4's ending was missing was the hallmark of a character previously presumed dead dramatically re-unveiling themselves at the very end. These are all practically series staples at this point. It's like peak melodrama.
Yeah, Chris, I'm not sure if your mom or grandparents ever did, but you like soap operas.
I like Yakuza, and it's definitely a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's at the point where Yakuza endings, there's enough content and similarities. You could just feed that to ChatGPT and it will spit out something very believable.
You know what? We should probably...
You could do Mad Libs with it.
Yeah, we probably... My producer senses are tingling. Okay,
there's a bit there. And that, without 2 more specifics, that's really all I had to say about Yakuza 4. I quite enjoyed it. Believe it or not, I'm going to keep playing these games.
And I immediately thought, you have 4 left to play?
It depends on how thorough I want to be, because there's the 2 Judgment games.
No one plays 6?
Oh, I'm going to play 6.
Oh, my God.
I'm definitely going to play 6, dude.
All right. The 2 Judgment games.
My goal is to be done with 5 and 6 by the end of 2025.
Okay.
And then 2026 will be the turn-based games.
You have 2026 plans for games.
I actually have 2027 plans, because that's when I play the first Judgment game, and I play Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, the bridge game between Yakuza 7 and Infinite Wealth.
Buddy, You might have to have a baby in 2027. Like, you're putting the cart before the horse.
Well, 2028 is when I play the Hawaii pirate game with starring Majima.
That has to wait that long? What do you... I'm going to play that before 2028. I know you're joking, but yeah.
No.
What?
This is real. It's a Sisyphean task because they come out at a rate faster than I'm playing them.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Anyway.
It's because you're just stopping to smell the heat moves?
No, it's because I play other games in between like a fool.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I had to say about Yakuza. I have one more game to talk about. I played another Legend of Zelda game.
What?
Yeah, a 2D one on the Switch.
Oh my God.
I'll forgive listeners if they mistakenly thought I was playing the new Echoes of Wisdom, but I'm not.
I don't even know what that is.
It just came out. But I was playing by the same studio, their previous game. I just finished the Link's Awakening remake.
Oh, this cute thing.
Yes, the diorama-like visuals with like almost a clay aesthetic. It's a remake of the original Game Boy game from 1993.
I never played that. I played 2.
Is that a Link to the Past?
Is that Link to the Past?
Or do you mean Zelda 2, the side-scrolling one?
I played Zelda 2, the side-scrolling
No
one.
way.
Yeah, I did.
Where were you playing that?
You know what? It might have been a pack-in on like a DS or something. It was definitely not purchased.
Okay.
But maybe I was done with Pokemon Sapphire and I wanted to play
then
Zelda 2.
Zelda 2 fell into your lap.
And I got stuck. Because you're right. It's antiquated. It's dated.
That one, I would say, is maybe the black sheep of the family. I don't think it's particularly well remembered.
I don't even know the chronology. Is that like the first? It came out in 87. So when did Link's Awakening come out?
93.
Oh.
6 years later.
Yeah.
And I completed this game under unusual circumstances, which I will admit may have colored my impression of it. I started playing this game in 2021, 3 years ago.
Nice.
Where I played the first 20% of it. I completed the first 2 dungeons. It really wasn't doing it for me.
Shelved it.
Totally shelved it. Didn't intend to ever return. But then 2024 rolls around. I had a lot of travel this year planned.
Oh, yeah. Game on the go.
Game on the go and my downtime at airports.
And that leaves you 2 options. Balatro on your phone or Link's Awakening remake.
And I reached for Link's Awakening. Some people will say I'm crazy. I did not restart the game. I just picked up dead ass where I left off 3 years ago.
You know what? I feel like I did that with a Pokemon game long ago. When you're a dumb kid, you'll do that.
I played this game in chunks. So the first quarter, 2021.
Yeah.
Then on my May trip to Florida, I played the middle quarter at the airports. Then in my August trip to Pennsylvania bachelor party, I played the second middle quarter. And then I finally finished it off in September.
You played this game like a cicada.
This will be purely a Chris takeaway. I don't usually play my Switch in handheld mode. It's like 95% a home console for me. But I enjoyed the novelty of playing a game handheld. I rarely do that. A lot of the time when I bring a Switch game on the go, like I've attempted to do with Fire Emblem Three Houses, or I attempted to do with some of the Mario plus Rabbids games, I do feel like I'm getting a lesser experience where the visuals are kind of neutered and the controls aren't quite as comfortable. Some of the visual clarity is sacrificed. I did not feel like I was making a compromise playing Link's Awakening handheld, though. I attribute that to maybe the fact that
Art style.
this is the only Switch game I've ever played that was originally and natively a handheld game. It's a Game Boy game.
Oh,
It never exists. It was never designed to be a home console game in the first place. That manifests in a couple of ways, like its really simple control scheme. The Game Boy only had 2 face buttons, and the simplicity comes across in this game. And yeah, the visuals, the perspective you were presented with what is shown on the real estate on screen, it did not feel claustrophobic to me. It felt like it was designed to be that small. So this is probably only Chris being like, oh, the novelty of playing a game in handheld. How unique.
Have you guys tried this?
It's probably such a mundane experience. especially in this era of like the Steam Deck and the Switch selling over 100 million units. But I enjoyed the fun handheld component of this. The game itself, I am not so hot on. This is probably sacrilege. It's a beloved game, and I'm a newcomer. This is only the second Zelda game I've ever touched. So like people will say, what do you know? And I'll say, not very much. But maybe Zelda isn't that for me, if this is what classic Zelda feels like. I found that this game felt quite dated to me, specifically in its puzzle design quite often. Just archaic, weird jumps in logic.
Please spoil it for me, because what did the original Link's Awakening game look like? What year did it come out?
Just 1993. It's getting up there in age. No, a lot of the puzzles seem to be operating on like dream logic, where I was not sure how I was supposed to make the logical leaps to figure that out. There's a mandatory...
You beat Witness.
I beat the Witness, but no, I wouldn't draw comparisons between these two games at all. Not at all.
Right.
There's a lot of like isolated instances where there's like, you're supposed to get information from a crow who's like living in a tree one time, and you don't do anything like that ever again for the duration of the game. There's a mandatory trading exchange quest line. You know that one real world story that gets cited sometimes where through miraculous circumstances, a guy managed to trade his way up from a paperclip to a house?
Vaguely, yes.
You basically do a series of trades like that in this game, except you never really know where the next trade participant is going to be located. So you have to navigate the entire overworld map, or you look it up like me because you don't want to drive yourself insane. A lot of this feels like artificial difficulty meant to pad out the runtime of this game. That, if you're a kid on a Game Boy and you want your game to last you months, that'll be a boon for you.
This is supposed to be playground funsies. Yo, did you hear that Tyler figured out how the crow mechanic works?
Right. It's so opaque and obtuse that when you do organically stumble upon the answer, you're like, wow, anything could happen out in this world. It kind of sells the fantasy of it. But as an adult, I found it very irksome. I know it's a piece of software, and I was just finding myself getting frustrated with it. A point I could use to hammer home this suspicion of mine is that the game actually includes these buildings, these telephone booth buildings you can enter to call a help hotline. There's like an NPC in a village who will inform you about where you should next go to try to make some progress. And I think that the designers felt the need to include this in the game.
This is new to the remake.
I think it's in the original as well.
Whoa.
But I think it's just a Band-Aid that alleviates some of the symptoms. Underneath the Band-Aid, I'm still bleeding due to your archaic puzzles. But
this should cover it.
You did make it slightly more palatable by giving me these nudges.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe you should make puzzles that you can trust the player will maybe be able to figure out themselves through, the guidance that organically comes up, not an artificial help hotline you cram in there because the underlying fundamentals of the puzzle are too challenging as they are. So that was the huge blemish on the game for me.
And you beat this game.
I did beat this game.
Oh, wow. Through a lot of wiki searches.
Through a lot of wiki searches and guide walkthroughs, I beat the game. The highlight for me, I did like the 8 individual dungeons you hop into. Those felt like fun, isolated challenge boxes where I knew everything to get through that dungeon, everything I needed was going to be at my disposal in this more segmented puzzle box, where the overworld puzzles drove me batty because you would have to traverse the entire world potentially to find what you're missing.
Is it really? Yeah, the lock is over here, but the key is way over there.
They could be way over there. The dungeons in their more segmented manner, more close in proximity, I enjoyed that. Navigating the maze-like labyrinths of the dungeons, managing your key resources and figuring out how to get to the final boss, those were fine. They were the only thing that kept me going, really. Just the assurance that if I just suffer through the overworld long enough, I'll get to another pretty decent dungeon. And that's really all I had to say. There's not much story to talk about here. I recently listened to a podcast that I won't name because I'm throwing a little bit of shade at it right now. They were discussing the best...
Joe Rogan.
The topic of the individual episode was the best twists in gaming.
Oh.
And one of the games they had the audacity to mention was Link's Awakening. And I was like, no way.
I thought the character's name was Zelda.
There's no way this deserves to be amongst the...
Do I know the twist?
If you
Don't spoil it for me if I don't know it.
I'd argue there isn't a twist. The so-called twist was baked into the premise, if you ask me.
Oh, that it's Link's fault Zelda's asleep or some shit?
Just in case I risk offending anyone who doesn't know, I won't say it.
Oh, okay. Mystery abounds.
But that's all I've been playing. Some bangers in the form of Metaphor and some disappointments in the form of Link's Awakening.
And then Yakuza 4 is somewhere in between.
It is somewhere in between.
This is your least favorite Zelda game.
Of the two I played,
the two?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. It's going to be funny when you play Tears of the Kingdom, and then Breath of the Wild is going to be the median.
Yeah, that'll be the median.
What a weird median.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Next segment.
Oh, well, here's where we take a break.
Okay.
And I grab some water.
You do that.
And we'll be back after that.
Yeah, dude. And we're back.
And we're back. Heath, did you have any business you wanted to address before we transition to Mobius tunes?
Well, everybody at the water cooler of the doctor's office is all the rage, talking about how Silent Hill 2
remake
is sending shockwaves.
I hear it turned out far better than a lot of people feared it might. Because the pedigree of the developer Blooper Team, they didn't have the most sterling track record, but this is like their best game yet, I think.
Thank goodness for that.
I intend to play that in the coming years. We're kind of in this renaissance of critically acclaimed survival horror games being remade really well.
Link's Awakening. Sorry, I don't even know.
Just Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, that Dead Space remake, and now Silent Hill 2. They're all coming back.
We are eating well.
Eating well. Oh yeah, it is spooky season.
Yeah.
That's also what convinced me to play a little more Inscryption.
Inscrypto, yeah. There's no way Samantha beat the Wall of Bears.
Check the receipts. Pull up her Steam profile.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, you can just ask her tomorrow when you see her tomorrow.
Hey, Samantha. Chris tells me you beat the Bears.
All right.
Mobius Tunes.
Mobius Tunes is a video game. I don't even remember which volume of Mobius Tunes this is.
Volume, just say every double-digit number that it probably is, and then I'll edit it so that you are correct.
17.
I explain the rules while I
sure.
things up.
This is our guessing game Heath and I play to celebrate some of our favorite songs from video games. We have both brought 5 songs for the other to guess. If you need any assistance guessing the game, hints will be provided. The maximum score you can receive is 15 points. For 3 immediate guesses. Is there any kind of a theme for your song selection this time, Heath?
No.
Yeah, me neither. We've been doing this long enough that I'm sure we're both scraping the bottom of the barrel. But no, I found some songs I do enjoy this time.
Shall I go first?
Sure, whatever you prefer.
All right.
Song number 1. Could you crank it up just a little?
Oh, I thought it was destroying your ears.
Ooh. All right. Very dramatic, very like soundtrack music. This would be right at home in a movie, I feel. Yeah, very serious in tone. I feel like it's giving more of a historical feel, something set in the past, potentially fantasy. I could also see it being more of a thriller type thing. We usually pace things out to get harder and harder songs as it goes. I'm going to throw out a guess just to get it out there. And this would be breaking with tradition because this game comes out. No, I'll change my guess to, could this maybe be from Silent Hill 2, since we just mentioned it?
Is incorrect. Your first hint. This 2024 strategy game features Stuart.
Okay. Thanks for throwing me a bone.
Song 1.
This is Frostpunk 2.
It's Frostpunk 2.
Is this the main menu?
This is the song you hear before the game crashes.
Oh. So this is your warning. If you hear this, it becomes a horror game.
Yeah. Next song.
So that's 2 points awarded.
For Chris.
Heath's song number 2. All right. A little bit more lively this time. All right. I don't know what's so funny to Heath, but he's enjoying something. Could be sci-fi, could be, near future. I'm sure all will be revealed when the game is unveiled. For a first guess, could this be? I don't know why I'm picturing the blue blur himself, Sonic. But could this be Sonic Adventure?
No. Your first hint. This 2012 truck simulator game, like its predecessor, is set in Europe.
Okay. I could hazard a guess. Could this be maybe Euro Truck Simulator 2012?
We'll give it to him. It's Euro Truck Simulator 2.
2. Okay.
This is the track on the soundtrack that's labeled cutscenes.
All cutscenes share the one music
I seemingly.
track.
Oh, you know why that resonated with me?
Yeah, you were cracking up about that.
It's to me, it's very Mass Effect 1 nightclub.
I see it. I can see it.
I was gonna say Aurora. What's the
Cora's Den.
Yeah, it's very Cora's Den.
Wait, where did you first encounter the cutscene music in Euro Truck Simulator?
I was gonna put a song for Mini Metro.
Oh.
But then I looked at Mini Metro for the first time and thought it was like this minimalist infographic nothing.
With no bangers.
This is absolutely not what I was picturing when Janice and Samantha were gushing about it.
Right. It's almost like an
last
abstract.
episode that they've heard now.
Right.
Since the hackers have
the hackers have been arrested.
Yeah. So I was like, well, fine. What's another game that's like Mini Metro? Hey, Euro Truck Simulator 2.
The line of thought is crystal clear. I see it.
Yeah.
Heath's song number 3.
Yeah, how many points do you have?
Oh, I am at 4 points.
You sure are. All right, you ready for song number what's it?
Oh. At first, I suspected suspense, but now, I guess tension's raising. This could easily be JRPG battle music. Yeah, I could see this starting to play as soon as a random encounter triggers. But what could it possibly be? I will throw out a guess of... Yeah, this has got to be that Lost Odyssey game.
Is incorrect.
Okay.
Your first hint. This 2020 hack and slash game was published by Koei Tecmo in Japan.
Okay. I think I'm beating at the right bush here if I say those are the Dynasty Warrior people. Which would be very much in line with hack and slash. 2020. That might be around the right time for Hyrule Warriors? I'm going to guess the game is Hyrule Warriors.
We'll give it to him. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Ah, okay. Which is, I think, the sequel.
Best Zelda game that's below Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Interesting.
Seemingly.
I think Samantha likes that game. Of course she would.
For its voice acting.
All right. I'm consistent. Up to 6 points.
Yes, you are. On to the next one. This is what Thomas listens to when he's working out.
I could picture
Because
it.
he's more machine than man.
Right. Very mechanical, this song. Maybe even industrial. I'll just throw out a guess. Could this be Mega Man 10? You know, with the robot?
Mega Man. When did Mega Man 10 come out?
I want to say in the 20-teens somewhere.
2010.
Okay. Early 20-teens.
Yeah, well, incorrect. Your first hint, Chris.
Yes.
Can I just say that what I think I'm going to say?
Can you just tell me the title?
This game was made exclusively for virtual reality headsets.
Oh, a VR-only game. Just to clarify, that means there is no version of the game that exists outside of a VR?
Made exclusively
Okay.
for virtual reality headsets.
Got it. I know one game in VR that is known for its like aggressive mechanical music is Thumper, but I know you can play that outside of VR. So let's eliminate it, strike it from the list. This is Res Infinite.
Are you trying to say Infinite Resogun?
No.
That's a game too, right?
Resogun's a game.
Infinite Resogun. I can't even. The SEO refuses to say what that is. But you're trying to think of Res Infinite.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, musical rail shooter game from Great Britain
Yeah.
or Sega, whatever.
And it's a VR game, I think.
No, Chris. Your second hint. This is the latest in the Half-Life franchise.
Oh, all right. Okay. This is Half-Life Alyx.
Yes, correct.
That'll be a crazy game to play someday.
Yes, it will.
A lot of people's sleeper pick for 2020 Game of the Year, yourself included, in theory.
The neuron counting.
That's a different frame of mind.
Yeah.
I got 1 point off of that, which means I'm at 7.
You sure are, with one more song to go.
One more song to go.
Song number 5.
Turn it up a little bit. Pretty lively. This might be my favorite of the songs you've played. but where's it from? Yeah, the chimes or bells or what are those in the background?
It's synth piano,
Synth
probably.
piano, okay.
It's very like Running in the 90s comes to mind.
Yes.
The twinkle.
Yeah, I'm picturing like twinkling stars in the sky. Oh, and now it's taking that more somber tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could find this song in a Yakuza game. It would not be out of place.
Really? This is when you're haggling between interest rates and the final boss between Akiyama and whatever his name is.
May as well.
Did I nail it?
Oh, yeah. Saxophone.
That's a dead giveaway for me. The fact there's like a saxophone run.
Right. I'm not going to do it again, but I keep getting Sonic on the brain. Don't know why. There's no way it's this. I don't think it even fits. Could it be Dreams into Nights?
Dreams into Nights.
The title actually might be Nights into Dreams. I may have messed it up.
Yep, he reversed it. Oh my God. Nights into Dreams is a 1996 action game developed by Sonic Team for the Sega Saturn. It follows the teenagers Elliot Edwards and Clarice Sinclair who enter Nightropia, a dream world where all dreams take place. The cover art is the most revolting. You remember Bowsette?
Yes.
The sexy Peach Bowser analog?
Right.
Imagine if there was like a spy roette.
Oh, no.
That's what Nights into Dreams' cover art is giving.
Yes, it's a fairly cursed character design, as one might expect from Sonic Team.
Hear, hear. You will hear no disagreement from me.
All right, give me a hint. I clearly need one.
Your first hint, Chris. This 2022 fighting game
Oh, recent.
is special because it uses teams composed of 3 members who oppose the other teams, but with more accessible changes such as the useful climax moves or parries.
Is your hint being read off of Google's description of the game?
Citation needed.
All right, it's a 3v3 fighting game. I mean, safe to say Arc System Works probably developed it.
It came out in between Link's Awakening chunks in 2022.
Right, yeah, between Chunk 1 and Chunk 2. Is it Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle?
Ooh, what a close guess.
Damn.
Because Blaze Blue Cross Tag sure is tag team battles, I think.
Yeah, it's in the title.
It's 2v2 matches.
It's 2v2.
And that game came out 4 years prior to this one.
Oh, really? How time flies.
Chris, your final hint. This song comes from SNK's fighting game, which is abbreviated KOF.
Okay.
And its entry in the franchise
I'm just being spoon-fed this title.
Is equal to the number of players on each football team, on a singular football team, plus the number of protagonists in Yakuza 4.
My God. Here's where my unfamiliarity with American footballs bites me in the ass. All right, so it's King of Fighters.
Okay,
it's
yes,
King of
it's
Fighters.
King of Fighters.
But that number eludes me.
So it's the number of Yakuza Pro tags.
Yeah,
plus the number of players on the football team on the field.
All right.
The Bills have this many players on a given first down.
My gut instinct
plus 4.
Don't weigh in. My gut instinct was that there were 18 players on a football team, and my confidence is building that 18 plus 4 would be 22, which would align itself with the release year. So I'm going to say King of Fighters 22 is the name of this video game.
Is incorrect. Sorry.
What was the number?
It is the song you are listening to is King of Fighters 15.
Damn.
Each football has 11 players on the field.
Who would have known?
18 is a lot of guys.
Well, yeah. There's a whole field of them.
Woo! Oh, I kept you at 7 points?
You kept me at 7. I will make a fun prediction betting against myself here. I think, Heath, you will edge me out by 1 point in this competition.
Whoa.
That's my prediction.
Smooth. Okay. All right, Chris.
Heath is now in the guessing chair. Let's see if he can defeat me.
Hopefully, this is a lot less work than what I just did.
I've got helpful hints ready to go. I'm just like the telephone booth hotline and
Link's Awakening remake and the original. Song number 1. Make way for Prince Ali. This is from Aladdin. This is actually from Aladdin. He's doing like the Tenacious D.
Yeah, his rhythm is quite rapid.
Oh my god. Surely there has to have been a Siva Gunner cover with the... Okay, you must have heard trap remixes of Auctioneers.
Oh, because Auctioneers talk very rapidly.
People putting like hip-hop beats over the top of
I
these.
see why your mind went there.
Yeah.
$47.5,
Yeah.
What a niche musical
It's what we're listening to.
experiment.
So the language should be a dead giveaway, right?
Can you identify the language? I would be impressed.
Because it's probably a fantasy language. It's very much fantasy, metaphor, Fantasio adjacent. I haven't locked it in yet. Don't make any reactions. It is straight out of... It is some Dovahkiin up in this. It's very Dovahkiin right now. Good on Zero Escape. What's the developer's name?
Studio Zero.
Yeah, I nailed it. Da-da-da.
You locking it in?
Yeah, it's metaphor for Refantazio.
Is correct. This is the battle theme of metaphor.
Good. Oh, what a something I could listen to a couple hundred times.
Yeah, I mean, I will. That is the burden I have signed up for. I didn't get to use my fun hint, which a working title for this game could have been Simile Fantasy.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
And then a note on the vocalists. It's being rapped by a Buddhist monk in the language Esperanto.
Oh, that's funny.
Which until today, when I was coming up with hints, I had never heard of Esperanto.
Well, it's a conlang, yeah.
Constructed language.
Yeah.
The world's most popular spoken one?
That's not really popular.
It's not. No, I think Wikipedia estimated it.
I'm the
at-
most popular Mobius Tubes host.
by some metrics, maybe.
Team Heath, let's go!
But no, this language was apparently invented in 1887, designed to be like a universal second language.
You will, there's something to be appreciated if you're a Spanish speaker, if you're Italian, romantics, all the romantics are there. If you speak Russian or Arabic, you're fucked.
The similarities aren't there. All right, that is 3 points for Heath. Congratulations.
Smoke if you got 'em.
Off to a strong start. We'll see if song number 2 humbles you at all.
Let's do it. I never got this far in Mario Odyssey.
Picturing some Mario games, huh?
How can you not?
Very whimsical.
Well, it's a little too bubblegum.
But that. Takes a little bit of a turn there.
Oh, buddy.
Slightly seedier.
This is Oil Ocean, yeah. This is from Nights into Dreams. Okay, I can do this, though. What the hell have you... This isn't Link's Awakening. There would be like a motif, right?
Right. You'd hear those.
Much in the way that you should have been able to recognize Hyrule Warriors based on the Zelda, the obvious Breath of the Wild motifs in it. This is going to have obvious nothing motifs because it's a new IP.
Have you abandoned the Mario line of thinking?
Yes, 1000%. It's not a Mario game. It's more at home and Penny's big breakout.
Well, you already picked that
But
game.
we already did that game, and we never repeat a game.
Except for the times I accidentally
For
did.
Undertale, Doom.
I definitely did 2 Yakuza 0 songs.
Because they're just so good. Okay, this is a joy. Come on. This is a brand new ass game. This came out in the Link's Awakening era for Chris.
Between Chunk 1 and Chunk 3, maybe?
This little is very, I'm gonna say it and hope that you just threw a dart and you picked this on a whim. This is from Shantae, I Dream of Genie. What's the
Right.
Shantae games?
It's
from the latest Shantae game, which is obviously called Jafar Is a Comin'.
Half Genie Hero.
Oh, Half Genie Hero, thank you.
That's probably the first one. Not incorrect, I'm afraid.
What?
Sorry. But I've got a hint for you, so rest assured, here it is. You could accurately describe this game's varied cast of characters as being flat, but not because they lack depth or substance.
Damn. Well, what the hell? It's a Mario game. It's a Mario game. That's why.
I thought I heard 1,000% not a Mario game.
Oh, and how ironic, because it's from Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door.
Wow, the foreshadowing. It's like we wrote this episode. Is correct.
Whose boss is this? This
is just the main central hub, Rogueport, the town. This is the theme that plays.
Okay, but Rogueport is like rocky and full of like cacti.
It's full of organized crime and pickpockets.
Oh, yeah, it is very like Aladdin, bizarre, Marrakesh.
The Delfinos run the gang.
The Delfinos are crime family. That's like the big...
They're the mafia.
The big triangular
Yep.
bubble bass looking types.
The one and the same.
The doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right.
Pretty fun game.
Yo.
That's 2 points.
Why, if I wish I had a significant other that liked Paper Mario. Song number 3.
Song number 3.
I'm 5 points.
You're at 5 points.
All right.
Man, you may blitz past my estimate.
Well, we'll see what this one does for me.
Heath immediately paused.
I need more.
He was going for the Hail Mary.
The flex on him. Yeah.
Heath, visually frustrated. It's clearly striking a nerve somewhere.
I know this song. Yeah. Dude, it's from is this Near again? No. That's Near again. Hold on.
This has got to be like top 3 most visually frustrated I've seen Heath reacting to a song.
I've gotten much more frustrated.
Okay, maybe during the reveal or something.
Your memory deceives you. Well, it's not Metaphor. No, this is Near Automata. Hold on. Yeah, this is The World Ends With You or some nonsense. Near Automata. Final answer
is incorrect.
What?
All right, hint number 1. This.
Don't make it a delicate hint, because I got it.
It's delicate.
Just say like a single word.
This puzzle platforming game's levels are based on the 5 stages of grief.
Oh, it's Well, hang on. Greece isn't about grief, is it? Sorry, audio listeners. Celeste is about eating disorders. No, because of all the strawberries. Sorry, what's the hell is Celeste about? It's about you don't trust your dark half.
I haven't played it, but yeah, it's about learning to believe in yourself, I think.
Okay, because this is okay. Greece, final answer.
Greece is correct.
Wow. Greece gives strong near autometers.
The reason I almost played like psychological warfare with you, Heath, because it sounds so familiar because I play it at board game day.
Yeah. Oh, you do.
And that's how it crept into your subconscious. You haven't played or seen this game, really.
No, but you... you Pavloved me.
I've been breadcrumbing you with
my mouth is
grease.
Watering.
Right.
With grease.
With grease. You're all greasy because your screen was covered in oil from Frostpunk.
That is so frustrating that I've been operant conditioned to know that song.
Right.
All right, well, I'm still killing it.
You're still killing it. You're at 7 points.
All I gotta do is not blow it.
Yeah, you've tied me already.
Don't choke. Well, I gave you absolute gutter trash.
These get harder starting now. Song number 4.
We got some binaural beats.
Yeah, slow.
Oh my god. Wait. I already named this song.
What do you mean?
I got him. Hold on. Give it a second more. This could be anything, but it could also be... Oh,
Heath just deflated.
I was going to say Mini Metro.
Oh.
But now there's like an ogre in the background of the studio that's going, a gorg. What is he saying? Is he Sonya, Sub-Zero? I hope this is actually Chris did some audio engineering and he pitched and slowed down his voice to be like, oh, I got you. What is he saying? This could be absolutely anything.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a background track.
I guess Corona's Den. What the hell is it called?
Cora's Den.
I guess Cora's Den is its own genre because clearly we're tapping into a rich vein. This is the song that you hear in the Undead Nightmare version of Forza.
What now?
You're building a car, but there's also like a mechanic in the background that's got heartburn, just gastroesophageal reflux disease, and he's going like, but Forza's jazz, so I gotta go with what's the American Forza? Gran Turismo. No, Gran Turismo is the jazz one. So yeah, I will go Forza 6.
All right. Incorrect in either case. Sorry.
Whatever you said was incorrect.
All right. For your first hint, Samantha once complained to me to stop playing songs from this game's soundtrack because they were putting her to sleep. To which I replied, how appropriate for a game with this title.
Soma. No. Heath, you can do this. Songs that put you to sleep. Nights into Dreams. Oh my god, Heath, you gotta do this. Chris, you gotta stop playing Astral Chain.
I need to start playing Astral Chain.
Astral Chain seems like a lot of fun, at least the core loop. Chris, you're playing too much. Sleeping. Night. Bed. Citizen Sleeper.
Citizen Sleeper is correct. Yes! You got there. You've done it. That's 2 points.
Chris, you gotta stop playing Citizen Sleeper. I'm positively narcoleptic.
That's what Samantha sounds like.
I like stats.
You're up to 9 points. You exceeded my estimate. And you could do even better for the 5th and final song. I made this one really hard, so good luck.
Victory loud. Imagine I get this from second one like I did Grease in my mind. All right, ready? And a 1, and a 5, 6, 7, 8. Beep boop bop.
More of that Cora's Den, am I right?
The stage of history. This is the only level of Returnal that Chris has not played. No, it's much too upbeat. All right. We're thinking some high action punch with your fists. All 4 of your fists.
I don't know what that's supposed to reference.
I am heating up these moves in the microwave. And the skyscraper could not be higher.
Oh, man.
Chris, are you about to betray me? Just like a final boss would in the final thing of... This is from Yakuza 4.
Yakuza 4. Good guess. It's not right.
Come on.
Sorry about that.
We were in Shibuya.
Kamurocho.
Yeah, it's the same. That's what I said.
All right, first hint for you, Heath. This arcadey shoot 'em up debuted as a launch title for the PS4 back in 2013. Heath went silent.
For the PS4?
Yep, PlayStation 4.
Shoot 'em up?
Shoot 'em up. Shmup, as the kids say.
I do say that.
Are you still playing the song?
No.
Okay.
Debuted. Pack-in title.
Launch title.
Launch title.
Released alongside the console.
Shmup?
Shmup.
Chris, there's only ever been one shmup. There's 2 shmups.
Galaga.
Ikaruga is what you meant to say.
Oh, that's what I meant to say.
Does Enter the Gungeon count? No, that's Bullet Hell, which is not a shmup.
Shmups and Bullet Hell are not mutually exclusive. In fact, I think they're often similar. So maybe Enter the Gungeon is a shmup.
That's just Bullet Hell. That's not a shmup.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now.
All right.
PlayStation 4 came out in 2013. We were still in high school.
We were.
This is pre-Ecom. Gravity Rush 0? I guess I know Gravity Rush isn't a shmup. It's a third-person gravity game.
Right. Is incorrect. All right, final hint. The defining visual feature of this Housemarque game is how its enemies shatter into voxels.
It is Returnal.
As a bonus, extra little hint, since you dropped this nugget for me, Heath, you named this game on this podcast episode already. You've said the title.
I said Ikaruga, but Ikaruga came out when I was born. Surely. Also, I don't know what Ikaruga sounds like. I would think it's, yeah. No, Ikaruga came out ages ago. It's a shmup.
Sure is.
By Housemarque, makers of Returnal. Returnal did not make Ikaruga. I just said that. Housemarque, when they weren't making Returnal, they were like, guys, it'd be so much more fun than AP English. This game that Heath mentioned this episode. I mentioned a lot of games, Chris. I mentioned a shmup.
You sure did.
I mentioned Ikaruga.
I said I made it pretty hard.
I said it?
You named this game.
When we were chatting it up?
Yeah.
I said... Oh.
I made a guess, and you were like, oh, did you mean... And then you dropped it out of the blue.
Oh, you're giving me too much now. Hold on.
I've already lost, so I've got nothing on the line.
I have so much on the line. Oh my god. Oh yes. What did I say? I was like, you mean Age of Steam.
I couldn't believe the coincidence.
What the hell did I say? Yeah.
You meant to say.
Yeah, what did I say? Calamity of Age. What did I say?
I'm guessing this isn't helpful, but this game is known for its use of voxels in its graphics style. Enemies just burst into millions of like tiny particles.
It's gonna feel so good when I get it, or so bad when I don't. You're thinking of Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, I'm afraid it's a miss.
No!
What you said earlier, Heath, was, Chris, you were thinking of Infinite Resogun.
Oh my god.
The game is Resogun.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my fifth and final game. We're listening to the launch title for the PS4.
Oh, because you were trying to say Res Infinite.
I said Res Infinite. Isn't that funny?
And the SEO was so bad, I just couldn't find it fast enough. Wow.
Interesting how that worked out.
I'm my own worst enemy. I'm my own Yakuza 4 skyscraper boss.
You betrayed yourself.
How could I betray me?
You won the game, Heath, but at what cost? Another rousing game of Mobius tunes.
Oh, and now I look like Obama.
Thanks for playing it with me yet again, Heath, on whatever volume that was.
We already know. It's
17.
I just piped it in just there.
Thanks for recording. Good to have just the guys back for a change. Samantha will be back next episode.
Thank God.
She'll have Outer Wilds updates. She'll probably have finished it, I think. Next episode, I think, we'll be predicting the Goaties.
The Game Award nominees, yeah. Folks, if you want to write into the podcast, you need to only write into MobiusTubespodcast@gmail.com.
That's right, MobiusTubespodcast@gmail.com. My phone bricked back in June.
Right.
And I got my new one right away, right? And I neglected to install the Mobius Tubes email on my new phone until today.
Yeah.
So I caught up on our backlog of emails.
All the more reason for you people to write in.
Yeah, all the more reason. I will actually read them now.
Yeah.
So there's some incentive for you there. Heath, I had a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute treat. I'll see you tomorrow morning, where you come over to my house, just to make that clear.
On time this time.
And I'll see you then. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay, bye.